Welcome back to an ATV Special Broadcast. Joining us is Gloria Steinem. So as a journalist, you've repeatedly emphasized the importance of equality in the newsroom. Now, about 40% of people are lady journalists, but there's still only 5% that occupy decision-making positions. How far do you think the field has progressed? And also, how do you suggest that women break through this glass ceiling?
I'm grateful that there are more women on camera like you, because when people see you, whether they're boys or girls, you know, they will understand that everybody, you know, should be able to do this if they do the work and have the talent, and that's very important. But as you point out, the so-called clout positions are really way less than 5%, and those are the positions in which the stories that are covered are determined. So we have a very long way to go, and the Women's Media Center, which we started about 5 years ago, is a place where women with experience in the media can form a critical mass and both critique what exists, give ideas of what better stories would be, do campaigns about you know, particularly sexist or racist problems with the media. And I think actually what we should have as part of every movement is a media movement. We have, as part of the women's movement, say we have the women's health movement, and we should have a media movement that is that big, because the media give us the idea of what is normal, what is possible, what our dreams can be, and at the same time that women and people of color and new faces have appeared. The media has also been deregulated to the degree that it's now owned. You know, I mean, Fox News is owned by Murdoch, and Murdoch owns politicians as a result. You know, it's much more concentrated. The ownership is much more concentrated. Right. And therefore, you know, the democracy of new media, you know, of the web is very important, but I fear that we cocoon on the web. You know, we just go see people who agree with us, and we lack the shared dialogue that we need.
Also, I know you're really involved in problems internationally as you studied in India, but how do you feel about the fact that other cultures have more like caste system, patriarchal systems? How do you suggest that international women break through these barriers?
Well, I think our job is to listen to each other and to support each other in the way that we wish to be supported. For instance, recently I was in Zambia a couple of times, and I was there because of meetings in part about sex trafficking. If I hadn't listened, I wouldn't have ever thought that a solution to sex trafficking was an electrified fence that allowed women living in villages along the Zambezi to grow maize, to have a livelihood, to have food security, to send their kids to school, and not to go to Lusaka and get sex trafficked. Right? So that solution only comes from listening and supporting what it is that they want.
So, in a previous interview, you explained that advertisers don't place ads in women's magazines unless you write about their product. And quote, really, they're catalogs, not magazines, and should be given away for free. As the co-founder of Ms. Magazine, how is your publication different, and how did you avoid being pigeonholed into the traditional women's magazine?
Well, we didn't do what the traditional women's magazine does, so nobody would advertise with us anyway, hardly anybody. Mostly they were products that were for both women and men, you know, books or wine or cars or, you know. We didn't get the fashion and food and skin products because we didn't write praisefully about those products.
Right.
Actually, we started, you know, we tried to break through on advertising for about 15 years, but we actually did better economically the moment we stopped taking advertising. Because what the readers want and what the advertisers want in women's magazines are not necessarily the same thing.
Right.
I think Oprah has broken through more than other, because she has so much power. She was able to produce a magazine in which not everything that is written about can be bought. Right. Some things are more about effort or work or dreams or so. But in general, advertising is a huge censor, a huge censor, especially not only to women's magazines, but much more to women's magazines.
All right, well, I'm going to have to stop you right there, and we're going to go to a quick commercial break, but stay with us. We'll be right back with more with Gloria Steinem.